From the makers of Gremlins.
That furry thing?
Comes Gremlin.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People paid good money to see this movie. If I were you, I'd run the rest of Gremlins 2 right now.
Sorry, folks. It won't happen again.
Gremlins 2, the new batch. Sunday at 8 on 5.
Charles Bronson, who puts the R in rugged, steps into the breach as a cop coping with murder in a movie premiere after some news.
You have 30 seconds to answer the following questions. Find the missing numbers. Two cars start 100 miles apart on a long straight road at 5 p.m. One travels at 60 miles per hour, the other at 40. What time will they pass? Look carefully at this equation. Clever, isn't it? Test drive your IQ now. The Renault Laguna.
Nothing alike. No, I didn't even know they were brothers.
No, it could be a bit tragic.
Buy you the prepaid phone before the end of March and get 50 quid's worth of calls. Free. Use it, don't use it. It's your call.
At Curry's, we've got the brand new Dysons. In fact, we've all the Dyson cleaners, all at Curry's low prices. Curry's, the choice for you.
How do you add greater protection to decor in busy areas like halls? My tip is to choose a super fresco wall covering. Apply a clear, quick-drying varnish, and when it's dry, you've got a tough, washable finish that's more resistant to scrapes and knocks. Well hard.
I had always hoped to see this in my lifetime. I have been wondering about the mysteries of the universe since I was a child. Yet, looking at the beauty of these things still fills me with wonder. For me, physics is about seeing further, better, and deeper. And from here, I can see forever. My eyesight means a lot to me.
What would you do if Britain's favourite brand of bread tasted even better?
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. Although a tear.
New Kingsmill Top Grade, even more of a fresh baked taste to make you smile.
You have 30 seconds to answer the following questions. How many numbers between 0 and 60 begin or end with 3? What colour are little green apples? Which is the odd one out? 16-valve performance, ABS, alloy wheels, air conditioning, indoor swimming pool, electric sunroof, CD player, £15,200. Test drive your IQ now. The Renault Laguna.
This is an important announcement.
The clock is ticking.
It's big. It's a monster week on 5.
Well, should I ask what's new?
Travolta, Slater,
crowd pleaser,
the network premiere of John Woo's Broken Arrow.
My mother was a nun and my father was a Jesuit.
Uncovering the bare essentials strippers tell all. Sun and sex, is it reality? Find out in Viva España. The survivors.
I actually knew I was going to die.
The heroes.
And all you can see is just a wall of flame.
Personal tales of terror in My Titanic. Larger than life and louder. Monstrous performances in Night Fever. scared, you will be. It's a massive attack of horror and...
They call me Swamp Thing.
In a Monster Mania weekend.
Slaying all the monsters.
It's a Monster Week all this week on 5.
Good evening and thanks for watching 5. We plan to make you glad you did. Dr. Fox has the new Pepsi chart positions at 10:50. Then it's the final part of our scintillating science fiction series V, 5 minutes later. Meanwhile, Kirsty has the news.
It's just before 5 to 9. I'm Kirsty Young. An 11th hour bid is going on right now to broker peace in Kosovo. The US Special Envoy, Richard Holbrooke, is in Belgrade tonight, and he's warned the Yugoslav president, Slobodan Milosevic, his country is at the brink of being hit by NATO airstrikes. 5's Steve Silk reports.
The threats keep on coming from the west, but Serbian attacks in Kosovo are intensifying too. Serbian army commanders say they won't stop until they've quashed the Kosovar rebels. Today they were concentrating on villages around the town of Savica. They just led the men away, this woman says. Then they beat us and burnt our houses. The diplomatic focus has shifted to Belgrade. United States envoy Richard Holbrooke meeting Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic for last-minute talks aimed at getting him to accept the peace deal. Mediators at an earlier meeting said Milosevic had refused to budge. The talk in Washington is just as tough. President Clinton saying the Serbs were clearly violating last October's ceasefire.
There is strong unity among the NATO allies. We all agree that we cannot allow President Milosevic to continue the aggression with impunity.
There's little room for optimism as thousands of Serbian troops pour into Kosovo. Confrontation could be just hours away. Steve Silk, 5 News.
A new fast-track scheme for star pupils was unveiled today. The government wants to cream off the brightest inner-city pupils for specialist tuition. Teachers' leaders say it undermines state schools. But what do the students themselves think?
Keep people that are very advanced in normal classes, mixed classes, they'll get kept behind.
Classes should be mixed ability, no matter how smart you are. I think everybody's equal and everybody should be given the same chance to learn. And
it was All's Well That Ends Well for Shakespeare in Love at the Oscars. The film clinched 7 awards. It was a great night for British talent too. Charlie State has been celebrating with the stars in Hollywood.
Nothing like a dame. The Oscar goes to Dame Judi Dench.
This was the first of many successes for Shakespeare in Love. Last year, Dame Judi missed out on the Best Actress category for Mrs. Brown.
I feel for 8 minutes on the screen, I should only get a little bit of him.
Next up, Best Actress, and again, Shakespeare in Love wins through. Gwyneth Paltrow clearly overcome. She could barely get through her speech.
I would not have been able to play this role had I not understood love of a tremendous magnitude, and for that I thank my family.
And then the big one, Best Picture.
Shakespeare in Love. David Carpet, Donna Gelati, Harvey Weinstein.
In all, the film picked up 7 Oscars, the biggest single winner on the night. Saving Private Ryan won 5 awards, including Best Director for Steven Spielberg. But it was Italian actor-director Roberto Benigni who really went for it when he got Best Foreign Film. And then he surprised everyone by winning Best Actor.
This is a terrible mistake because I used up all my English. No, I don't know.
At the after-show party, Dame Judi seemed happy to share her newly acquired statuette.
Well, it's when Robin Williams said dame.
All in all, it's been a good night for the Brits. Charlie State, Hollywood, 5 News.
Can I keep this?
You bet.
The Home Secretary Jack Straw tonight intervened to stop the early release of Brighton bomber Patrick McGee and 3 other IRA terrorists. McGee, who carried out the 1984 bombing of the Grand Hotel in Brighton, was due to be released in June. A government spokesman said the decision to block this was not related to the Good Friday Agreement on early releases. Northern Australia is picking up the pieces after a battering from Cyclone Vance. 1 man's missing and more than 100 houses have been destroyed. 140-mile-an-hour winds ravaged towns and heavy rain, causing widespread flooding. Vance is the worst cyclone in the area in 25 years. Football now, and England's crucial Euro 2000 qualifier against Poland is just 5 days away, but Kevin Keegan's squad has some serious injury worries. Here's Trisha Doodoo.
Liverpool's boy wonder Michael Owen heads England's Cox list.
His persistent hamstring injury has been slow to respond to treatment and he's struggling for Saturday. But Man United's David Beckham is expected to make it despite being pulled off yesterday with a problem calf. But Leeds' David Batty has pulled out with flu, together with Andy Hinchcliffe, who has a back injury. And after his controversial call-up, Chris Sutton may not even play after picking up a groin injury at the weekend. But good news for Ian Walker. Fresh from his side's Worthington Cup victory, the Spurs keeper has been drafted in as cover for injured Nigel Martin.
Controversy over Lennox Lewis's fight with Evander Holyfield just won't go away. The World Boxing Union claims it sacked the judge who scored the fight as a win for Holyfield more than a year ago. Meanwhile, the heavyweights have signed up for a $30 million rematch in September. The round-the-world balloonists today told how they beat a fuel crisis to win their place in the history books. British co-pilot Brian Jones said they were running dangerously low on fuel when the balloon suddenly picked up speed. He said it was as if an invisible hand was guiding them.
50 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 knots. And at that point, I just pushed the calculations away and knew we didn't need them anymore.
Well, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather then. Wind and patchy rain in the north, mainly cloudy and dry in the south, with the odd shower in some places. Top temperatures, well, between 5 and 7 degrees tomorrow. That's it from me for now. We're back with another update at 11:15. Have a good evening. Bye for now.
Starring Reservoir Dogs' Mr. Blonde, Michael Madsen. Executive target. The network premiere, Thursday at 9 on 5.
Monster Mania is coming to 5, and here's a few rules on staying alive. Rule 1. At the sound of an ominous thud, always open the door.
How do you blame me?
Rule 2. If you're running from unspeakable evil, never look where you're going. Rule 3. Always answer the call of nature if you're stuck in a swamp.
1 minute he was taking a whiz by the tree, and the next second, zip!
Rule 4. Remember, beauty's only skin deep.
Strangers in the night.
You're a plant.
Two lonely people, we were strangers in the night.
Rule 5. The most important of all,
Don't let them get wet.
never ever obey the rules.
I've got one of my really bad feelings about all of this.
Monster Mania this weekend on 5. You know you'll watch, don't you?
Sport of every sort, live and dangerous, 12:30. Meanwhile, cop a load of Bronson in another movie premiere. And Channel 5 has given this one a C for caution rating because it contains adult material.